All right, welcome and thanks for joining me. We're going to try this another time offline since the internet decided to die on us during the live stream. So, apologize to anyone who is on there for missing out and just stopping abruptly. We've been having all sorts of internet issues and trying to sort those out. Hopefully we will soon, but I apologize. Welcome, thanks for joining. Thanks to those of you who were logged on. There's been a lot of EV news, but also I canceled the prior week because I got a last-minute invite to go see the Polestar Precept EV concept car. And it's the one from their initial announcement in Germany from last year, 2021. And it's been shipping around the country. Polestar Minneapolis flagged it down as it was driving by and said, hey, we want it here for a night. So I got a last-minute invite to come out and see it. So pretty cool event. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of what that event looked like. But the full video will be coming out in a couple weeks. And that's because I just finished the EV road trip, the Tesla road trip to Florida and back, where I met EV Dave and Jim, the Iowa Tesla guy. Great time down in Cocoa Beach. And this Sunday will be the stats video. And so for people who love stats, I'll get into all that. I'll compare it to our 2020 trip, the Frunk Full of Diapers trip, if you haven't seen that playlist. That was a road trip to Austin, Orlando, and then back up to Minneapolis in a 2015 Model S 85D. So coming home, we had pretty much the same route, and so it'll be interesting to compare those stats with the current Model Y stats, the 2021 Model Y long range. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. That'll be coming out on Sunday. And then the following week is going to be a look at the Kia e-Niro, which has been out for a while, but my friend John, who was in the live stream before it died, John had that as a rental car while his Tesla Model Y was being worked on. And so he graciously let me come up and drive it around a little bit. We charged it at Electrify America and had a good time with that. So I'll be doing an episode on that. And then the following week will be the Polestar Precept concept car. And that's because orders for the Precept don't start until 2024, and then deliveries won't start till 2025. So as much as I want to bring that to you, it's not going to make a difference in ordering the car or not ordering the car because it's still very prototype-ish at this point. But there are some cool things and a lot of things that should stay on through the production model. So I do want to bring you that, and I'll bring you a little sneak peek here in a second. We'll switch to that in a minute, and you'll be able to see that. Also wanted to comment, the lighting's a little different tonight. I'm having some eye problems, so just kept things a little dimmer instead of blasting light into my eyes. Hopefully it's not too dark for you guys watching. Well, since we're on the Polestar stuff, let's roll that beautiful bean footage. So you should still be able to hear me all right. Looks like you can. And so this was the Precept event. And just getting some close looks at it. They had the Polestar 1, which I'd never seen. Polestar 1 was there. A couple of Polestar 2s. Polestar 3 is still, we don't know. I mean, other than I think one image, the Polestar people don't really know much more about that than we do at this point. But this is that Precept concept car. Same one. It was literally just the clay model, same one they had in Germany. And pretty cool, great look in person. The thing on the top of the windshield, which you can't see right now, there you can, that little kind of dewdrop, that black dewdrop on the top of the car is a LiDAR array. And the people I talked to from Polestar said that would be integrated into the vehicle in the future. and so that won't be on the final version. Also, unfortunately, the fully opening doors, the suicide doors as they're called, that will not be a thing in the production vehicle either, because they need to have a B-pillar for regulations. So the thought is that it will be similar doors to the Polestar 2, with maybe the flush handles like the Polestar 1 has, but the second door would be a traditionally open back door for that. It's also using cameras as the mirrors, and you can kind of get a good look at that little wing right there from that. And we're seeing that and then that's also the case with the rear view mirror. And so, assuming that gets regulatory approval by 2025, they do plan to do cameras instead of mirrors, which should help with drag. Also on the front, you can kind of see as we're coming around, I almost didn't notice it in person until I walked around it several times. On the front, there's that scoop, and you can kind of see the shadow of it right here. You can see right through that. That's all the way through and allows air to travel right off the bumper and kind of makes it hug the shape of the car. That's supposed to help with wind resistance. I'm not an expert in that, but pretty cool. I think the back end looks pretty sharp, a little Cadillac-ish. But the car overall has a pretty cool, aggressive look. I don't know if it comes across as well in video. I do have a lot of other pictures of the interior and everything as close as I could get. But really nice looking car. Again, more details and things will be in the full video with some of those close-up photos. An odd thing that Polestar does, and as we come around again you'll see this, is their badging is really vinyl lettering. I assume it's vinyl. You can see that on the Polestar Precept on the charge port, or what might be a charge port. And that's okay. It's not really to my taste, but it's okay. What I find odd is the other sensors and things around the car also have that writing around it. And it reminds me a little of a mix between the Apple Store and the 1960s Batcave, where everything's labeled, the Bat computer, the Bat hair dryer, the Bat, whatever. And so it's just a little odd, like, obviously the service people who would need to deal with those things would be the ones who need to know where they are, but they would know where they are. And it's just extra lettering and things on the front of the car that I find a little distracting. But if they are literally just vinyl letters, you could easily take them off. So kind of odd. And that might be for a show car situation, but I feel like I've seen Polestars in the wild with similar lettering on them. It's small and subtle, and driving by you'd never notice, but very sharp looking car. I'm not super crazy about the I like the black lower half from a design aesthetic. It makes the car look like it starts up higher, and so it gives it more of a sports car feel, even though it is taller than that. But those black flanges on the doors do stick out, and I could see this definitely isn't a car for people with kids, but I could see kids wanting to stand on that when the doors are open, and that being a problem with your hinges and everything there. You can kind of see how it flanges out, and I can also see it really busting your ankles if you swing it into somebody. Not that it's a hard edge necessarily, but any kind of piece of metal, or I guess that's a composite material, so it can be recycled, but still, anything like that hitting you at the shin at a good velocity is going to make you swear a lot. So a little like a cool design choice when the doors are closed, an odd design choice when the doors are open or they need to function. But with the back seat setup, with the price point this car is going to be coming in at, I don't see this as being something you'd be taking the kids around in. This is more of a adults only car, in my opinion. Oh, I didn't realize my face was still in that little window. I'll get back in there. Stay in your window, Brian. Anyway, a cool look and sharp looking vehicle. They're going to sell every one they can possibly make, I'm sure. They are seeing this as a Model S, Cadillac Lyriq, probably the new Lotus vehicle that I haven't had a chance to look at but was just announced yesterday. Kind of on that level of competition. Probably the Mercedes EQS. So this won't be cheap, but it should be fast. They want to have a lot of it be recyclable, and that's all cool. So really fun event. Really glad I went. And you guys have seen this enough times now that I can move back to regular camera view. But anyway, that's the Polestar Precept concept vehicle. So there will be changes, but I think I have high hopes for it being very capable and the changes they need to make to it being well done, judging by their other vehicles and the styling of this. So hopefully that's the case. Cool car, very glad. So thank you to Ross and the group at Polestar Minneapolis for inviting me and letting me come and check that out. It was very, very cool. And yeah, just look forward to making them as soon as they possibly can, and more people getting into great EVs. Since we talked last, we had the infamous Tesla jump, which I'm sure everybody saw. And on one hand, it's like, oh, wow, look at how far that thing can fly. On the other hand, it's like, what a moron doing something to what I think may have been a rental vehicle. And just complete disregard for, $120,000 vehicle or whatever it is now. Obviously, it's one thing if you do it to your own car and you're the kind of person who, for clicks or whatever reason, wants to do it. I think it's stupid. I think it's really stupid doing it to a rental car. And with so many people trying to get into EVs, to just waste one like that is so stupid to watch. And of course, it was on the news cycle, like other things end up, like for 2 or 3 days, it's all you see. So really disappointed. I'm sure whoever the folks were there who posted it got millions of clicks and views and all that stuff on their Instagram or whatever, but just wasteful on such a large luxury item that already you could argue is pretty wasteful from what it needs to be to what it is. That's a different conversation. It's a halo vehicle. I totally get it. But then to just throw it away on a stunt where you could have been killed. I think they pulled back on the accelerator before they crested the hill. Because I think it seemed like it had more in there. And had they come down harder into those other cars, Teslas are super safe, but still, You never know if they had come down. Had one been parked where it would have landed on it and flipped or something. It was just dumb on a million different ways. The people standing right on the side of the road. If the person got cold feet and jerked the wheel at the last second, there's no time to get out of the way of something moving that fast. So just dumb, and disappointing. And I get why people share that stuff over and over again, but I just hate to see it. That's all I'll say. And then also the episode I had before the off week was about an article that's been shared around in different formats, a FUD article about how, if you charge an EV and put a supercharger in your house, it's going to be more expensive than driving a gas car. And it was a stupid cherry-picked article, and I kind of went through all that on the last live stream. But as frustrating as that was, then the next day or a couple days later, same guy posts essentially the same article. You know how things get shared, and they change a few words to make and the format so it looks like they wrote it. And then at the end, it's like copied and pasted from someone else. But it's true. And I get really frustrated because I did share with that same person, well, here's my stats for the last month, and here's the road trip we did, and none of what this is in this article is true. They post it again. They just want to believe it, and they want other people to believe it. And it kind of speaks to a mindset that we should never change anything because nothing can ever be better than it is now or better than it was when I was a kid. And so we have to always do the same thing. Unless it's perfect right out of the box, we shouldn't even try it. And that's such a backwards mentality, and there's no way to shake some people out of it. That's kind of why I share my EV experience. If there's good, if there's bad, if we nearly run out coming back from Williston and I got to do an embarrassing, 20 miles an hour into Dickinson to get to the Chargers, I'm not going to hide that. If FSD screws something up, I'm not going to hide that. But that doesn't mean that things can't get better. Infrastructure can't get better. Vehicles can't get better. The person who's doing the planning can't get better at it. It's just such a disappointing mindset, especially when there are so many people sharing their experiences. Unfortunately, I think they just get shared into a bubble, and the people who need to hear it don't hear it. And the irony is that the person who posted it is a big gun advocate, and there's lots of debate about that. I think we definitely need more something to prevent senseless violence. I also don't think we need to take every gun away from every person for every reason. But that's not really what this is about. But that's a lot of what he posts about, because he's a passionate gun owner, and thinks people should be trained and taking courses and all that kind of stuff. And he probably is a responsible gun owner. But a lot of his posts over the years, or every time there's a mass shooting, unfortunately, he's the first one to post how people don't somebody said something stupid, or they showed the picture of the wrong gun. They don't know what they're talking about, or, things like that. Or, they want to advocate for this, but that wouldn't have helped in this case because of whatever. So in his way, he wants to, get real information out there and tell people, what they, what real gun owners, think. But yet presented evidence and experience, not just like, here's a study, it's me, someone has done these things, has been driving electric since the August of 2018, didn't know if it would work for me, but did it for the experiment sake and hoping that it would work. And it has pretty brilliantly in most cases. And, just kind of ignoring that evidence and still putting out the same BS. And some people, you're just never going to change their mind. So unfortunate, but that's kind of the dug in the sand, dug in our trenches world we live in, is people only believe the things that come from the places they believe in and aren't really open to changing their mind, which was kind of depressing. But also, there's an element of shake the dust from your feet and move on and just do the best you can. Keep telling people your experience, and hopefully, inevitably, we're almost everyone is going to be driving electric. It's going to happen. And those people, will eventually, give up their flip phones and move to something modern. So didn't mean to bum you out on that, but just wanted to clarify and had some other thoughts on that. There is good news in the world. And some of that is that Giga Berlin has opened. And people in other countries have started posting that they're starting to get deliveries. Car carriers have been seen rolling out. Of course, people got to get in on those panel gaps, and everything looks okay so far coming out of Brandenburg. So that's good. Really, the deliveries and things are the main thing, and there probably won't be a ton happening before the end of Q2 or Q1, which is probably in Germany coming up here in a couple hours. But that's okay. The factory has started. They had their party. Elon danced. Somewhere there's a cool drone shot going through the factory. I don't know if Tesla's going to post that full thing on their YouTube channel or not. Usually they do, but it might take a couple days. There are like screen grabs of people who got that. I don't know if that was at the event or where, but you can find it if you want on YouTube. I think Rob Maurer was talking about it on Tesla Daily, and he may have had links yesterday to that video. And the Cadillac Lyriq, the GM put out a little video about them producing the Cadillac Lyriq, which has also started production, which is great news, because we need more good EVs, and hopefully that's going to be a good one and the right fit for the right people. My aunt has driven Cadillacs forever, and this might be, who knows, that might be her next Cadillac, which would be very cool. She might not be at a point in her life where she wants to switch brands. But she also might not want to switch to electric. But anyway, there's hope, and now there's a vehicle that's similar to the experience she's used to, so that's good. I guess this was last week, but it came up and kind of struck me as somebody posted on Twitter a post about how they felt bad for, I think it was a plug-in hybrid that was trying to charge at a nearby charger while they were at a supercharger. And, they were feeling bad because they were in and out in 15 minutes, and these people had been there before he got there and then afterward, still not being able to charge their vehicle, and kind of saying, we need to make it easier. But the message that got everyone latched around on is Tesla owners are all jerks, and they don't want to help other people, and they're just making fun of people instead of being helpful EV owners. And I had a couple thoughts on that, and it makes a lot of assumptions to say that. And, just assuming it's the toxic Tesla owner. And it could be. It also could be that he tried to help and he didn't say it. Because believe it or not, in this world of, look at me doing a wonderful thing and I'm going to tell the world how wonderful I am, not everybody does that. And some people just do nice things and leave that out of their comment of, I feel bad because the infrastructure needs to be easier for these people. So it's possible he's a toxic Tesla fan. It's possible he did try to help and couldn't and didn't mention it. It's possible he's not familiar with other types of charging. The good and the bad of Tesla charging, supercharging specifically, is you plug it in and you're done. And you just walk away. You're in your car, it says, yeah, we're good to go. You go use the restroom, get a snack, whatever, come back, I'll be done. If you've seen some of my videos of me trying to use Electrify America, which presumably is relatively easy, it's very confusing and took me a long time to figure out. Just because I'm not used to, you got to have your order of operations right. You got to plug in first, then go to the screen, then do your payment thing, then make sure it's, you're hearing the right clicks and the light turns, green or whatever. And when you don't know that, when you're just by some random charges, Ionity, Electrify America, any of these, you wouldn't be very helpful. And you also run the risk of coming off like a jerk in that instance when you do help, because you walk over and try to help and go, man, this is confusing. I don't know. I just, plug in and it works. And these people who are standing there frustrated are going to go, thanks, jerk. You go back to your easy thing and let us struggle. And so you've made yourself look bad in that case too. And so, it's a matter of, assuming that guy knew how to use those chargers, was familiar with, I think somebody said it was a plug-in hybrid, knew anything about plug-in hybrids or their charging speed, because other people in the thread were saying, well, you can't even charge at a fast charger, so they shouldn't have been there. And it's like, well, the good and the, like I said, the good and the bad of the Tesla system is it's very easy. The bad of it is when people have more complex systems, when they have PHEV charging limitations or things like that, you're not going to be super helpful, and you wouldn't automatically know that. Or maybe another CCS owner or a longer time multiple EV owner would know that. So my final thought on that is there's really no way to win without people judging you, unless you don't post anything. But if you want the issue addressed, you need to post that, hey, this is an issue. So I don't know. I didn't see him defending himself or writing anything more in response to people, posting on it. But maybe there was, maybe there wasn't. But I just thought, we make so many assumptions on what people know or should know. My brother's very good at working on gas engines, and both of my brothers are. I am not. I can do the basics, but if it was possible for me to pay to have someone do something, I would. So I knew it was done right, and I didn't have to spend my time, under the car in, 20-degree weather. That's not my idea of a good time. So if I could pay to have someone do that in a warm garage where they know what they're doing, especially things like brakes or major things, just let someone do it. I get not everybody can or wants to. That's fine, but then when someone has engine trouble, I have a set number of things I know we can look at, and then after that it's call a tow truck, where one of my brothers might pop the hood and go, oh, you gotta move this and this cable's, come loose, or, get a, $5 part at Napa and stick it in and you're good to go. That's not in my wheelhouse. So, kind of like stopping and helping someone on the side of the road, are you actually going to be able to help, or is their cell phone more helpful to them? Anyway, that's down a wormhole. But anyway, same kind of deal in my mind. And people just need to be a little more... People like to make assumptions about the way they expect people to be. And I think we could all just kind of step back a little bit and not do so much of that in all walks of life. A couple other things I wanted to touch on was, I don't know if you've been following the Out of Spec Motoring, Kyle Connor. Had tons of time with the Rivian R1T. I think they had it for a full week and did all sorts of testing, all sorts of drives, charge testing, towing testing. And if you're in the market for an EV truck, this is the kind of testing you want to see. So they had a good experience. Every video I've seen, I haven't seen them all, but every one of them has said this is a pretty great truck overall. And I know Monroe and Associates, Sandy Monroe, and I think it might be his wife's vehicle. They got an R1T, and I know they've been looking at it, but they haven't planned to tear it down. But the gist I've got kind of out of their messaging is that they're pretty impressed with it. Again, I haven't had a chance to watch those videos yet, but cool to see. And then Rob Maurer on Tesla Daily covered this well, and I think the limiting factor, I'm blanking on his name, Jordan, maybe. I apologize if that's incorrect, but the limiting factor on YouTube, I think he's done a story on this too, of Tesla, kind of lining up their raw materials for battery supply and making contracts years out, which is a great move. And, there are some people who believe I can't think of I'm blanking on the number of their in-house cell, their new battery cell, the big one. There are people who are skeptical about that, but because Tesla works in Giga, Nevada with Panasonic, if they can't manufacture their own batteries, let's say this thing never works, I think it's going to, but let's say it doesn't, they can just ship that ore over to those battery facilities too. So securing the raw materials is the big thing, and whether it's Panasonic or Cattle or whoever producing them is good to make sure that they can keep up their manufacturing rate. And with Berlin opening, and now hopefully in a couple weeks we see, I think there have been some rumored deliveries from Austin, but I don't think there's been anything confirmed. I think it's someone may have seen a test vehicle out in a parking lot somewhere and gone viral with that. But an interesting thing too, the Trevor from Tesla Owners Online had posted, the first deliveries happened at Giga Berlin. And so right there at the factory, they handed off the first 25 or whatever vehicles of the Model Ys from there. And Trevor was like, yeah, should they do that in Texas too and get these first vehicles out? And the problem is they can't, because Tesla still can't deliver in Texas because of the dealership rules and lobby there. So what I was thinking is, you either don't do it because it's too annoying, or you do it and have like a remote video feed where someone in Oklahoma or Louisiana gets their vehicle, and you see these handoffs happening in other states because they can't. And if you've invited politicians and things to the Giga Texas event on April 7th, then, that's going to look pretty bad for you as a politician there. And so it might be worth doing that as a drive home the point kind of moment. But it'll be interesting to see. Maybe that's just the day they're going to say, we've got all our approvals. Here's, 6 trucks, car carrier trucks loaded up, and they're going to hit the road right now and make deliveries. Maybe it would be something like that. I'm not sure, but going to be interesting. I know Todd, who's usually in the chat, we're not live, but Todd has been messaging me, letting me know like if I need more B-roll or something that they can score it for me, because he's going down. A few other folks I know are going down for like the Austin GigaFest, or basically Tesla Owners in Austin, or the Tesla Owners Club of Austin has set like a bunch of community events up around whenever this date was going to happen. So the date got announced, and then now these other events have popped up. And so people who don't have tickets to the Cyber Rodeo, I think it's called, are still going down to Austin to just kind of party in the town and see what they can see. So it should be cool. I'd love to go, but having just got back from our other trip, I've got the South Dakota trip at the end of May. I couldn't get away for this one. So looking forward to seeing a lot of cool stuff out of that. I know Zach and Jesse are going to try to live stream it with people attending, calling in, and like to like a Zoom format. And so, we'll go to so-and-so who's inside the building. We'll go to so-and-so who's, riding the cyber pole, or whatever happens. So that might be kind of cool to follow. I think it's a Thursday night, going from 4 to midnight or something like that. So should be quite the event. I would assume they'll live stream part of it, or some people will be live streaming parts of it, obviously. So that's a thing to watch on next Thursday, I believe, is the 7th. So we'll all look for that. I wish I could go. If Tesla emailed me right now and said, you have a ticket, then I'd probably find some way to go if I knew I could get in. But just going to town, I can't do that. So anyway, I know there's a bunch of other topics. There's a lot more going on, but those were kind of the big things I wanted to talk about. And I know there's more questions about the data from the trip. If we were live, I would be showing you those spreadsheets so you could comment or ask questions, or give feedback on what should be included and what shouldn't in the video. In this case, I'm just going to make up my own mind. But stats from the road trip will be in hopefully a shorter video than the last few that have been pretty long. Hoping to keep this one around the 15-minute mark and just kind of give you all the stats in a easily digestible way. We'll do that, and then the following week, like I said, will probably be the Kia e-Niro experience I had with John a couple weeks ago. If you own a Kia e-Niro or know someone who does and they want to get in touch with me, and they live with it every day, I would love to hear an owner's perspective, and I would include that in that video as well. And then we'll get to the Polestar Precept, which you've just seen a little preview of. But I'll have more comments, more information and stats and things in that. So for that, I'm going to wrap it up. Again, apologize about the live stream crashing. That is my internet situation I deal with almost every night, and it hasn't gotten better. So we're still working on that. Hopefully we'll be live next week, and I appreciate everyone watching anyway in the delayed format. But thank you very much. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.